The story begins with Nick, a small businessman living happily in a Southern California town with his beautiful wife and 2 sons. Nick's eldest son is named Braden, while his younger son is called Lucas, and the 2 brothers are completely different from each other. Braden is a highly talented hockey player, and Nick and his wife have great expectations for his future. Lucas, on the other hand, often goes unnoticed and lives in his brother's shadow. Like most siblings, Braden and Lucas frequently argue and fight. One evening, Nick tells his wife that it is Braden's final match, which is why he decides to personally take him to the field. The scene shifts to the match, where Braden scores goal after goal. The crowd erupts in cheers, and Nick feels immense pride and happiness. By the end of the game, Braden's team secures a clear victory. After the match, Nick and Braden begin their journey back home together. During the drive, Braden shares his dream of going to Canada to improve his hockey skills and become an international player. Nick listens carefully and assures his son that he will support him in shaping his future. Their heartfelt conversation continues as they drive along the road. Suddenly, Nick notices a car approaching them in a reckless and dangerous manner. Feeling uneasy, he pulls over to let the vehicle pass. Once the road becomes calm again, Nick realizes that his car is running low on fuel. He stops at a nearby fuel station to refill the tank. Braden notices a shopping mall close by and decides to go inside to get a coffee. Meanwhile, Nick calls his wife and proudly tells her about Braden's outstanding performance in the match. He also mentions Braden's desire to move to Canada to chase his dream. As the call ends, Nick is stunned to see the same car from earlier pull into the area. He quickly realizes that the vehicle belongs to a group of dangerous criminals. Before he can react, several masked gang members step out of the car and rush into the shopping mall with the intention of robbing it. Inside the mall, the gang brutally kills the owner, revealing that a new member has recently joined them. It is then exposed that the gang follows a horrifying rule. Whenever a new member is recruited, they must kill a stranger to prove their loyalty. Tragically, Braden becomes the chosen target, as he is the only person inside the mall at that moment. The new member hesitates, terrified and shaking, as this would be his first killing. Despite his fear, he pulls out a sharp knife and stabs Braden in the neck. Watching everything from a distance, Nick realizes what is happening and begins to run toward the mall with all his strength. By that time, all the gang members have already escaped in their car. However, the new member who killed Braden fails to get away. Nick runs toward him and manages to catch him. A violent struggle breaks out between them. During the fight, Nick tears off the mask and sees the killer's face. The boy suddenly shoves Nick aside and tries to flee. As he runs across the street, a speeding car strikes him. He is severely injured and collapses unconscious on the road. Without wasting a moment, Nick rushes Braden to the hospital. Doctors soon reveal that Braden's condition is critical. After admitting him, Nick calls his wife and his younger son. Sadly, before they can reach the hospital, Braden passes away. The news shatters the entire family. Nick's wife collapses to the floor, crying uncontrollably. Grief fills the room, leaving everyone broken and silent. The next day, Nick is summoned to the police station. The police inform him that several suspects have been arrested. They believe one of them may be responsible for Braden's murder. An officer asks Nick if he can identify the killer. As Nick looks at the suspects, he immediately recognizes the boy. He identifies him as the same person who killed Braden the night before. The boy's name is Joe, the younger brother of a feared gangster named Billy. Based on Nick's statement, the police arrest Joe and the investigation moves forward. Later, Nick attends his son's funeral. The family stands in silence, overwhelmed by sorrow. Braden had countless dreams for his future, all of which were destroyed in a single moment. Everything feels finished. Days pass, but the pain does not fade. Grief slowly consumes Nick and his wife from the inside. Lucas is also deeply affected by the sudden loss of his brother. The following morning, as Nick prepares to leave, his wife urges him to give a statement that will ensure Joe receives the death penalty. Instead of going to the police station, Nick arrives at the district attorney's office. There, a prosecutor meets him along with Detective Wallace. They explain that the case has become extremely complicated. Joe will not face execution because he is the only key witness in the case. On top of that, the CCTV cameras in the area were damaged, leaving no usable footage. Without solid evidence, nothing strong can be presented in court. They also reveal the terrifying truth about the gang. To join them, a new member must kill an innocent person to prove loyalty. Tragically, Braden became the victim of this cruel rule. Hearing all this, Nick is filled with rage. However, he is told that no matter what he does, Joe's sentence will not exceed 3 years. Powerful people and criminals will do everything possible to protect him. The prosecutor warns Nick that even strong testimony will be useless. If Nick continues to push the case, his entire family could become the gang's next target. He is advised to be extremely careful with whatever step he takes next. The next day, Joe is brought before the court. Nick is called in as a witness. He is asked a single question: "Did you truly see Joe at the scene that day?" Nick replies, "No. That day was so dark that I could not clearly see the killer's face." Everyone in the courtroom is stunned by Nick's statement. After hearing this, the judge does not detain Joe for even a moment and orders his immediate release. As Joe walks out of the courtroom, he calmly lights a cigarette. Just then, his brother Billy arrives with his entire gang. Billy praises Joe for what he has done and tells him that he has finally proven himself. He declares that from this day forward, Joe is a permanent member of his gang. The two brothers talk and laugh together, while Nick watches them from a distance. Billy then takes Joe in his car and drives him to a special location where a celebration has already been prepared. Pointing toward a girl standing nearby, Billy tells Joe that she is there just for him. Billy slips some money into Joe's pocket and calls it his reward. He tells Joe to enjoy himself and then walks away. From afar, Nick silently watches everything unfold. All he can think about is the fact that his son's murderer is now roaming freely. Anger burns inside him, yet he feels completely helpless. After witnessing this, Nick returns home and heads straight to his storage room. There, he begins searching for weapons. At that moment, his wife Helen arrives and asks him what is wrong. Nick tells her that their son's killer has been released due to a lack of evidence. He explains that even if proof were found, the boy would still be protected because his brother is the most powerful mobster in the city. After saying this, Nick leaves the house. The scene shifts to Joe arriving at his home. He is shocked to find Nick standing in front of him. The sight of Nick terrifies Joe, as Nick's rage is clearly visible. In the next moment, Nick attacks him. A brutal and dangerous fight breaks out between the two. During the struggle, Nick stabs Joe with a sharp knife. Joe slowly dies in front of Nick's eyes. After it is over, Nick is left standing in shock. He cannot believe what he has just done or what he should do next. After a moment, he pulls the knife from Joe's body. He throws it into a nearby river so the police cannot trace his fingerprints. Nick then returns home, but his hands are still covered in blood. Seeing this, Helen immediately realizes that something terrible has happened. However, she cannot bring herself to question him. It is clear that Nick has killed someone for the first time in his life. He is completely broken by the weight of his actions. Nick tightly hugs his wife, breaks down in tears, and confesses that he has become a murderer. The scene shifts to Billy, the leader of the mafia gang, visiting a well-known arms dealer in the city. The arms dealer's name is Bonus. However, Bonus and Billy share more than just a business relationship. They are father and son. Billy has come to give his father a share of the money he earned during the previous week. Because the amount is less than expected, Bonus becomes furious. He scolds Billy and warns him not to make the same mistake again. After this tense exchange, Billy leaves. He then arrives at a factory where illegal drugs are being produced. As soon as he reaches the place, a gang member named Bodie delivers shocking news. Bodie informs Billy that his brother Joe has been brutally murdered. Hearing this, Billy and everyone present are left speechless. They are known as the most feared gang in the city. This raises a terrifying question. Who would dare to kill one of their own? The scene then shifts to Detective Wallace, who arrives at Nick's office. He informs Nick that his son's killer has been found dead. Nick pretends to be deeply shocked and shows no sign of happiness at the news. However, the truth is something only Nick knows. While speaking, Detective Wallace notices a bandage wrapped around Nick's hand. This detail immediately catches his attention. It feels unusual and raises suspicion in his mind. Meanwhile, Billy is shown completely devastated by Joe's death. He tells his gang members that they have lost a new recruit. Billy warns them that if such incidents continue, people will stop fearing them. He says that one day their enemies will chase them away with sticks. Determined to protect his reputation, Billy orders his men to find Joe's killer as soon as possible. He personally visits all his old enemies one by one. Despite extensive questioning and investigation, he finds no solid lead. Finally, one of his men brings new information. He reveals that the girl who spent time with Joe that night saw someone following him. The man looked like a professional hitman, wearing a suit and heavy boots. Hearing this, Billy immediately goes to the girl. He shows her a newspaper photo of Nick. As soon as she sees the picture, she confirms that Nick was the man following Joe. With this confirmation, Billy becomes fully convinced that Nick is the killer. The scene then cuts to Nick standing by the roadside, changing the bandage on his hand. Suddenly, he senses something strange. He feels that someone is watching him. Terrified, Nick starts running toward his house. At that very moment, a gangster from Billy's crew tries to shoot him from behind. Nick reacts quickly and strikes the attacker's hand with the case he is holding. The pistol falls to the ground and the mobster collapses. Taking advantage of the moment, Nick manages to escape. However, he realizes that there is no easy way out anymore. Billy's men are now hunting him everywhere. They continue chasing him while firing non-stop. Overwhelmed with fear, Nick struggles to survive. At one point, he throws away the case in his hand so he can run faster. Nick tries to escape by running through one alley after another. However, Billy's men are relentless and refuse to stop chasing him. While fleeing, Nick finally reaches a parking garage filled with cars. Thinking quickly, he triggers the sirens of every vehicle. The noise makes it difficult for the gang to track his exact location. As Billy's men enter the garage, Nick hides inside inside a nearby car. Unfortunately, one of the gang members spots him. As the man tries to grab Nick, a fierce fight breaks out. During the struggle, both of them end up inside a car. Nick seizes the moment and shifts the car into neutral. The vehicle rolls forward and plunges straight down the building. Nick jumps out just in time and escapes without injury. The gang member, however, falls to his death along with the car. At the same time, Nick receives a call from his wife. She tells him that their younger son, Lucas, is missing. Hearing this, Nick is overwhelmed with fear. He believes that Billy or his men have kidnapped his child. Terrified, Nick begins desperately searching for Lucas. The scene then shifts to Detective Wallace, who arrives at the garage shortly afterward. There, he discovers that all the dead men are members of Billy's gang. From this, Detective Wallace concludes that Nick is deeply involved in the case. The scene switches back to Nick, who has spent the entire day searching for his son. Completely exhausted, he arrives at the same gas station where Braden was killed. To his shock, he finds Lucas standing there alone. It turns out that Lucas was not kidnapped. He had left home on his own. Lucas explains that he felt his parents loved his older brother more than him. Nick is heartbroken after hearing this. He comforts Lucas and assures him of his love. Knowing it is dangerous outside, Nick takes his son back home. The next morning, a member of Billy's gang named Bowdy arrives at Nick's office. He throws back the case Nick dropped while escaping. Bowdy threatens Nick and shouts that his final day is approaching. Office staff and security quickly catch the intruder and force him out. Afterward, Nick opens the case. He is horrified by what he sees inside. The case contains photographs of his entire family. Each photo has a cross marked on it, except for Nick's own picture. This makes it clear that his family has been marked for death. Nick also notices a phone number written on the back of the photos. When he calls the number, Billy answers. Billy coldly tells Nick that he has chosen death for his entire family. Billy explains that Nick's loved ones will be killed one by one. In the end, Nick himself will also be executed. Hearing this, Nick explodes with rage. He warns Billy that if even a single member of his family is harmed, he will hunt him down. Nick promises to kill Billy with the same brutality he used on Joe. After hearing Nick's warning, Billy reminds him that Joe was his own brother and his own blood. He declares that he will go to any extreme to avenge Joe's death. With that threat, Billy hangs up the phone. Immediately afterward, Nick calls his wife. He firmly instructs her not to leave the house under any circumstances. Nick then contacts Detective Wallace and informs him that Billy has threatened to kill him and his family. He urgently asks for a backup team to be sent to protect them. After speaking with the detective, Nick rushes home. He begins locking every door and window in the house. Detective Wallace arrives shortly afterward. Detective Wallace blames Nick for the situation. He tells Nick that if he had not killed Billy's men, his family would not be in danger. According to him, the only solution is for Nick to confess and surrender to the police. Only then, he claims, can the authorities protect Nick's family. Nick refuses to accept this. Hearing Nick's decision, Detective Wallace leaves. However, before going, he assigns police officers to guard the house. Time passes quietly, and there is no sign of Billy's men. Then, late at night, Nick suddenly hears the sound of a car siren. He looks out the window and is horrified to see Billy's men brutally attacking the two police officers outside. Terrified, Nick runs toward the upstairs room. By that time, Billy and his men have already entered the house. They begin firing wildly inside. Nick grabs a nearby pistol and shoots back. During the gunfight, one of Billy's men is killed. Billy remains unfazed, as his only goal is to kill Nick. The violent struggle continues for a long time. Eventually, Billy captures Nick's wife and his son. Nick is forced to surrender. In a fit of rage, Billy shoots Nick's wife and son in front of him without hesitation. After killing them, Billy shoots Nick as well. With this, Nick and his entire family are seemingly wiped out. Billy and his men leave the scene. A few days later, Nick regains consciousness. He is still alive. Detective Wallace visits him and delivers devastating news. He tells Nick that his wife is dead. He also reveals that Nick's younger son, Lucas, is alive. Hearing this, Nick is crushed with guilt and blames himself for everything. After some time, Nick wakes up again. With police permission, he goes to see his son. When he meets Lucas, Nick confesses that he was never a good father. He tells him that this regret will haunt him for the rest of his life. Suddenly, a strange noise echoes through the room. Detective Wallace arrives and discovers that Nick has escaped through the window. The scene shifts to Nick returning home. There, he finds his house completely destroyed, resembling a graveyard. Realizing that everyone he loved is gone, Nick suffers a complete mental breakdown. Nick then goes straight to the bank and withdraws all his money. From that moment on, he chooses a new path. He becomes a hitman with only one objective. His sole mission is to kill Billy. After leaving the bank, Nick begins his first task of tracking Billy down. To do this, he starts expanding his network. He goes to a bar in search of information. At the bar, Nick asks the owner about a man known as Cat. The owner refuses to help and responds rudely. This enrages Nick, and he attacks the bar owner. Others nearby step in and accuse the owner of provoking Nick. However, Nick is consumed by anger and starts fighting them as well. Finally, the bar owner, shaken and frightened, asks Nick where he can find Billy. The bar owner tells Nick everything he knows. He also gives Nick information about Bonus, which could help him obtain advanced weapons to confront Billy. However, he never mentions that Bonus and Billy are related by blood. Without hesitation, Nick goes straight to Bonus to buy weapons. At first, Bonus refuses to sell him anything, but when Nick shows him a bag full of money, Bonus gives in. He begins displaying powerful and dangerous weapons. After completing the purchase, Nick turns to leave. From behind, Bonus warns him one last time. He says that he knows exactly who Nick is. He tells him that Billy is all he has left and urges him to stop. Bonus warns Nick that if he values his own life, he should abandon his pursuit of Billy. Nick does not respond. He simply walks away. Nick is then shown returning home. He begins practicing with deadly rifles, preparing himself to eliminate Billy and his entire gang. Along with weapons training, Nick also changes his appearance. He reshapes himself into a cold and dangerous hitman. Nick cuts his hair and wears one of Braden's jackets. This reminds him constantly of his family and his mission for revenge. After preparing his weapons, Nick sets out for the location given by the bar owner. After a long drive, Nick reaches the building where Billy is supposed to be. There is only one locked entrance. The locked door does not stop Nick. He fires his pistol directly at it. The door breaks open instantly. Inside, Billy is nowhere to be seen. Instead, Nick finds another gang member named Tommy. Tommy is shocked and cannot believe that Nick is still alive. Before Tommy can react, Nick grabs him and beats him brutally. After overpowering him, Nick demands to know Billy's location. He forces Tommy to call Billy. When Billy answers the phone, Nick shoots Tommy in the head instantly. Hearing the gunshot over the phone, Billy freezes. He realizes that Nick is alive and coming for him. At that moment, Billy's father, Bonus, arrives. Bonus desperately warns Billy that Nick has become a ruthless hitman. He urges him to escape immediately if he wants to survive. Billy reacts with uncontrollable rage. He shoots his own father, Bonus, without hesitation. Meanwhile, Nick arrives at the drug factory. He drives straight through the entrance and runs over the security guard. Nick storms inside and opens fire with a shotgun. Gang members fall one after another. Within moments, the place is filled with bodies. Finally, Nick comes face to face with Billy. The two engage in a fierce gunfight. Both are seriously wounded during the exchange. At one point, Nick's pistol runs out of bullets. Billy quickly grabs it, thinking he has the advantage. However, Nick pulls out a second, more powerful weapon. Without even looking, Nick shoots Billy. Billy dies instantly. After killing Billy, Nick returns home. He watches old videos of his family. He quietly waits for the police to arrive and arrest him. Soon after, Detective Wallace arrives. He tells Nick that his son Lucas has regained consciousness. However, Wallace worries that Lucas may grow up without guidance. He also warns Nick that he will face a long prison sentence for his actions. Hearing this, Nick begins to question himself. He wonders whether killing Billy and his gang was truly the right choice. With this reflection, the story comes to an end. If you liked the video, please like it. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.